Welcome to Error 404 Decoded, where we debug the most fascinating glitches in the human operating system. Today we're analyzing a critical bug that affects 75% of the global population. Why does your body enter full panic mode when you need to? Speak in front of other people? If you've ever felt like you were about to die just thinking about giving a presentation, you've experienced this system-critical bug firsthand. Picture this scenario. You're at your desk, working normally, when your boss walks over and says, "I need you to present the project at tomorrow's meeting to 20 people." Instantly, your operating system crashes. Heart rate spikes, palms get sweaty, and you feel like you just received a death sentence. But wait, these are just regular people watching you talk about a subject you actually know well. So why the hell is your body reacting like you're about to face a hungry lion? The ancestral survival bug is exactly what we need to debug first. To understand this critical glitch, we need to do a deep dive into your primitive nervous system. What's happening is you have a survival program that's been running in the background for millions of years, and this program has one very specific, hard-coded rule. Rejection by the group equals certain death. When you put yourself in a position of extreme social vulnerability, which is exactly what happens when you speak publicly, this ancestral system interprets the situation as an existential threat to your primitive brain. You're not just giving a presentation. You're literally putting your life at risk by exposing yourself to collective judgment. And if you're finding this fascinating, go ahead and smash that like button and subscribe to the channel, because we've got plenty more human bugs to decode right here. The social emergency protocol kicks in the moment your social scanner detects imminent public exposure. Within seconds, it executes an impressive emergency response. A chemical cascade floods your system. Adrenaline and cortisol spike. Your heart rate can hit 180 BPM. And something very specific happens. Your digestive system literally shuts down to conserve energy for vital functions. That's why you get that butterflies in your stomach feeling before public speaking. It's not a metaphor. It's your body redirecting all blood and energy from digestive organs to muscles and brain, preparing for fight or flight. It's like your body is executing a war protocol when you just need to explain a sales report. Attention processor. Overload becomes inevitable because when you speak publicly, your brain needs to simultaneously process multiple complex threads. You need to monitor the content you're delivering, analyze audience facial reactions, control your body language, modulate your voice tone, and still maintain your main line of reasoning. It's like trying to run 10 heavy programs simultaneously on a computer with limited RAM. The system gets overloaded, starts lagging, and eventually freezes. That's why you sometimes go blank during presentations. It's literally your cognitive processor entering overload mode. The hyperactive threat scanner makes this bug particularly cruel because your social threat detection system goes into overdrive. During public exposure, it's analyzing every micro-expression in the audience, interpreting every movement, every glance, every posture shift as a potential rejection signal. Someone yawns. I'm being boring. Someone checks their phone. I'm making a fool of myself. A neutral expression. They hate me.
They hate me!
Your scanner is running real-time risk analyses on data that isn't always relevant, creating a perfect storm of anxiety. Self-consciousness. Amplification activates something called the spotlight effect, where you feel like you're under a giant spotlight and every flaw, every mistake, every imperfection is being magnified and analyzed by everyone. Your self-awareness system goes into overdrive, making you hyper-aware of every aspect of your performance. It's like having a monitoring program running that analyzes every word coming out of your mouth, every gesture you make, every second of pause, constantly informing you about everything that's wrong. Imagine trying to drive with someone criticizing every move you make. That's exactly what happens internally when you speak publicly. The negative feedback loop creates one of the most perverse bugs in the system. When you notice you're nervous, you get nervous about being nervous. You notice your voice is shaking. so you get more anxious, which makes your voice shake more, which increases anxiety, creating an infinite loop of embarrassment. It's like a program entering infinite recursion. Anxiety calls more anxiety, which calls more anxiety, until you're completely frozen by the very system that's supposed to protect you. And speaking of protection systems, how about hitting that notification bell? That way you won't miss any new content about the most fascinating bugs in human programming. The social failure memory bank is another cruel feature where your system maintains a detailed database of all negative social experiences you've ever had. Every time you need to speak publicly, this database is automatically accessed, making you emotionally relive every time something went wrong socially. That time you stuttered in 5th grade, when you forgot what to say in a meeting, when someone laughed at you. It's all archived and reprocessed every time you expose yourself publicly. It's like having a trauma history file that executes every time you open the public speaking program. Temporal perception. Distortion creates an interesting bug where time behaves strangely during public exposure. Seconds feel like hours. Natural. Pauses seem like eternities. And you have the sensation that everyone is noticing every millisecond of hesitation. This happens because your nervous system is in a state of hypervigilance, processing information at a much higher speed than normal. It's like when your computer freezes and every click seems to take forever to respond. Your social processor is overloaded, distorting your temporal perception. The physics of bodily shame generates very specific physical manifestations beyond increased heart rate and sweating. You might experience hand tremors, voice cracking, facial flushing, and even complete mental blanks. These symptoms occur because your autonomic nervous system takes total control, prioritizing survival functions over complex social functions. It's literally your body executing an emergency protocol when you just need to communicate information to other people. The competence paradox reveals something fascinating. This bug can be more intense precisely in competent people. The more you know about a subject, the more aware you become of everything that could go wrong, of all the nuances you might not explain perfectly, of all the questions that might arise. It's like having a quality control program so rigorous that it prevents you from delivering anything because it always finds some microscopic flaw. Competence can become a trap when your internal quality system is calibrated to impossible standards. The transparency illusion tricks you into thinking your anxiety is much more obvious to others than it actually is. Studies show that audiences rarely perceive even 50% of the nervousness you're feeling. While you feel completely transparent, people are usually focused on the content, not your emotional performance. It's like thinking everyone can see your code while you're programming, when in reality they only see the final result on the screen. Your internal experience is much more intense than anything people can perceive externally. Individual system. Calibration explains why this system works differently for each person. Some have hypersensitive social scanners that trigger alarms even in small groups. Others only activate the emergency protocol with large audiences. Past experiences, personality, and even genetics influence this calibration. People who've had consistently positive social experiences might have more relaxed systems, while those who've experienced rejection or intense criticism might be left with scanners permanently in maximum alert mode. The recontextualization hack gives us hope because understanding this system is the first step to debugging it. When you recognize it's an ancestral program trying to protect you from a danger that no longer exists, you can begin to recontextualize the situation. Instead of, I'm going to be judged and rejected, you can reprogram to, I'm going to share useful information with people who want to learn. It's literally rewriting the interpretation code of the situation, changing the parameters that trigger the emergency protocol. Gradual desensitization offers another effective strategy through progressive exposure. It's like making gradual system updates instead of trying a complete overhaul. Starting by speaking to small groups, then medium, then large, gradually calibrates your social scanner to recognize that public speaking isn't a real threat. It's like training a spam filter. The more data you provide about what's safe, the Better the system gets at distinguishing real threats from false positives. Focus reprogramming provides an advanced hack by redirecting where your attention processor is focused. Instead of constantly monitoring audience reactions, you can redirect focus to the content you're sharing. It's like changing a program's processing priority, allocating more resources to the main task. When you're genuinely focused on helping people with the information you have, your social system relaxes because you're no longer in performance mode, but in contribution mode. Bug acceptance sometimes becomes the most effective strategy, simply accepting that the bug exists and working with it instead of against it. Recognizing that nervousness is normal, that it's part of the human system, and that it doesn't indicate incompetence or weakness. It's like learning to live with the quirks of an operating system. You know the bugs, understand how they manifest, and develop workarounds to stay productive even with them present. Evolutionary legacy code makes this bug particularly fascinating, because it perfectly reveals how we are modern hardware running Paleolithic software. We carry social threat detection systems developed for small groups of hunter-gatherers, but they remain operational in contexts where we need to communicate with dozens or hundreds of people simultaneously. It's like trying to run a 1970s program on a smartphone. It works but exhibits strange behaviors because it wasn't designed for this hardware or this context. The freedom of understanding brings us to this final point. Next time you feel terror at the thought of speaking publicly, remember it's not weakness, it's not incompetence. It's your survival system functioning exactly as programmed. An ultra-fast, ultra-efficient social threat scanner that continues protecting you from an exile that won't happen. Public speaking shame isn't a personal defect. It's evidence that you have a perfectly functioning social system, just calibrated for a world that no longer exists. And understanding this is the first step to making peace with this ancestral bug and learning to work with it, not against it. Because at the end of the day, we're all just primates with smartphones, carrying millions of years of survival software and trying to give PowerPoint presentations. And there's a strange beauty in this evolutionary contradiction that we all share. The next time this ancient alarm system goes off before a presentation, you can smile knowing you're experiencing a masterpiece of evolutionary engineering, just one that's hilariously outdated for the modern world. So what's your story? Drop a comment about your most intense public speaking terror experience. Hit that like button if this debug session made sense to you. Subscribe for more analyses of the most fascinating bugs in the human system, and I'll see you in the next debug.